Hello and welcome. My name is Sanjay Soni. Here is a microlearning readiness video about Azure SQL Data Warehouse. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Now, let's get started. Hi, John. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Sanjay?
Awesome. So what do you do at Microsoft?
So I lead the product management team for Azure SQL Data Warehouse. Azure SQL Data Warehouse is our cloud data warehouse. We built it for Azure to enable customers' analytics workloads in the cloud.
All right, let's get started with our first question. Can you please walk us through modern data warehouse and perhaps explain how can we think about that in the context of Azure?
Yeah, so if you think about the modern data warehouse is really a customer solution pattern that we've developed while we've been working with customers on modernizing their data warehouse infrastructure. That infrastructure may be on premises or it may be new infrastructure that they're building out to enable business scenarios. So what we've seen with customers is that there's a common pattern as data flows and data is processed through the system. We have a number of services in Azure that enable this, but really the patterns have become very common with customers as they're bringing in data from structured systems. This could be line of business systems, CRM systems, or application systems, as well as unstructured sources where they're bringing in perhaps IoT data, social data, and a variety of other data that they may be bringing in and want to do analytics on. As you know, Sanjay, the sources of data are just increasing over time, and the need to do meaningful analytics over that data is increasingly important for customers to remain competitive in the spaces that they work. So for customers, what we've seen is customers are ingesting this data first and bringing it in from a variety of these sources. They then store this data. We're seeing more and more customers use a data lake architecture to go store this data. This data lake architecture gives you a cost-effective way to store that data, keep that data durably, and then perhaps decide what they may want to do with that data later. So that data comes in, it gets ingested, it gets stored, typically in a big data storage layer. And then there may be some data exploration. There may be data scientists or data engineers or even data analysts that go look at that data. That data is then typically prepared, and we use systems to prepare data, to clean data. A lot of data coming from both structured systems and unstructured systems is often not clean.
Yes.
It often has a lot of quality problems. And so doing data quality is critical as part of a modern data warehouse architecture.
In fact, that's the majority of the time people spend cleaning data, and it's very important.
Absolutely. We see with customers across a variety of roles and skills and needs within an organization that an inordinate amount of time that they spend is cleaning data and preparing data. But this is a critical phase in the modern data warehouse. As you bring that data in, you may be combining that data as well as other data sources come in. And then modeling that data, serving that data to the business so the business can actually ask questions and answer questions. And typically what this means is creating a dimensional model of data, creating a structured model so that people understand what the shape and structure and schema of that data is, creating that single source of truth for an enterprise or a business to actually ask questions and answer questions. And then what we see is typically BI and reporting workloads, even advanced analytics solutions that are built on top of this solution set. But really this pattern has become emblematic of a lot of customers moving to the cloud and moving their data warehouse solutions to the cloud. We see this as a common way that they can achieve and modernize their warehouse in the cloud.
I see, and they can use Power BI, tools like Power BI and other tools on top of the data that's from structured and unstructured.
So Sanjay, it's not just about those BI workloads. Absolutely, BI is a critical element of understanding the business and making decisions for our business users.
Yes.
But there's also the emergence of data science, advanced analytics, and machine learning. And by creating these modern data warehouse, you also open up the data for those data scientists to really do more advanced analytics, build, train, and run models.
Fantastic. Can you please talk about how various Azure services come together to help customers deliver the modern data warehouse solution?
Absolutely. Sanjay, as you know, there are many services in Azure, all providing a lot of great capabilities. If we drill into the modern data warehouse solution, we'll see there's a set of services that we really bring together, and at Microsoft and in the data group, we're really working to make sure integrate well for customers. The first is Azure Data Factory.
Yes.
Azure Data Factory is our serverless data integration product. It's been in the market for a number of years now and really matured over those years to enable data integration in a hybrid scenario. So I can bring data in from on-premises systems. I can bring data in from SaaS-based systems if I'm using the Microsoft Cloud or even third-party SaaS solutions like Salesforce. You can bring that data in, bring it into your storage solution, and land that data into Azure Data Lake Storage. So Azure Data Lake Storage is really our big data store that we look at bringing all of that data in, rendezvousing all of that data, and that's where we're going to do that data preparation and data cleansing that we talked about. This is the place where that data comes together, that data either gets combined, that data gets cleaned, there might be some transformation that's happened inside that data as well. We also have a number of products that allow people to explore data once that data is in the data lake. So things like Azure SQL Data Warehouse has SQL Polybase capabilities that allow you to query data that's in the data lake or data that's in a data warehouse. Products like Azure Databricks allows you to use other languages to go query and explore data that may be in the data lake. And this is a case where customers will use and likely use the product that they're most familiar with or they have skill sets around. There may be customers that have high degree of SQL skill sets and likely use a SQL product to go do their data exploration inside the lake, as well as we have Azure Databricks that allows you to do those from a Spark environment and Spark clusters that gives you a lot of power, not just exploring the lake, but Azure Databricks can allow you to prepare that data, do a lot of that data cleansing that we talked about. If there are structural problems with the data, things like JSON coming in, I want to take out some of that malformed JSON, I want to bring that data into the lake. Azure Databricks is a phenomenal tool for doing that. So you can bring that data into the lake, you can combine that data, and that's where that data preparation happens. And we use tools like Azure Databricks to enable that. And you get a variety of languages. You get Spark SQL, you get Python, you get R, you get Scala. So really, wherever you are in terms of skill sets, capabilities, or tools that you want to use, there's a lot of choice there for customers to go do that data preparation on top of data that they've brought into the data lake.
So in a way, it's the best of both worlds.
Absolutely.
That world as well as the SQL.
Yeah, so we really think about this architecture as bringing that data into a big data store and promoting this open data architecture where you say, I've brought that data in, I can then do some data preparation, I can do data exploration on top of that data that's stored within this very economical big data store. And then when I'm ready to effectively publish that data to an organization to consume, a place where you would typically use a data warehouse, where you want that source of truth, you want that curated data, and you're publishing that out to business users, that's where the SQL Data Warehouse comes in. We see customers then begin to model that data within the warehouse, things like creating dimensional models in the warehouse, having history in terms of facts that they're storing in the warehouse. So this is a place where SQL Data Warehouse really shines, and it separates compute and storage. So it allows you to scale up that compute as you need more compute and you have more users and more workloads that are operating on top of your warehouse, and scale it down when you may have less busy times. And on the right-hand side there, we see we're serving a variety of workloads. And so this whole modern data warehouse solution really is the bedrock of the analytics pipeline. And we think about creating these data pipelines, creating these analytics pipelines. This is how customers bring them together, bring that data together, and then unlock it for their organizations.
That's fantastic. Thank you for watching this video. Learn more about this and other topics at azure.com/SQLDW.